If you stay where you are, you will wither away. Come forth from where you are, calling out in the name of Jesus. Proverbs chapters 10 through chapters 15 covers the wise and the foolish contrasted. Proverbs 10, verse 1 says, "The Proverbs of Solomon, a wise son maketh a glad father, but a foolish son is the heaviness of a mother." Proverbs 2 states, "Treasures of wickedness profit nothing, but righteousness deliver, delivereth from death." Knowing is not enough. We must apply. Willing is not enough. We must do. Johann von Goethe, boy, I messed his name up. I didn't mean to do that. But Johann von Goethe was a German writer and states, "Man has his works included." Oh, okay, wait a minute. Jonathan von Gottfried was a German writer and statesman. His works include four novels, an epic and lyric poetry, dramas, memoirs, autobiographies, literary and aesthetic criticism, and terrible we can't read already. And treaties on bounty, autonomy, and color. Jonathan Wolfgang von Goethe, would you agree that he was a well-established, successful man? Many of us may or may not be accomplished as Mr. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. Yet we all have the potential. Would you agree? Johann was born into a middle-class family. He followed his father's wishes and studied law. How many of us follow our parents' wishes? Are children programmed for success? Does anyone know the keys to success? Can you be a successful parent? Can you be a successful parent? Why or why not? Please leave your answers down in the comments, and we can elaborate and talk about that as we go along. What are some of the challenges of being a parent for the first time? Never been a parent before, fear of being judged as a parent, no knowledge, no experience, except the knowledge that comes from how you were raised. Sometimes not in every case looked at, sometimes not in every case, lack of funds, education, and life skills. Open willingness to learn or take direction from experience, guardians, or authoritative figures in our life. Challenges adapting to all the responsibility that comes with parenting. Normal, uncomplacent, normal, uncomplicated birth versus challenges of a complicated birth of a child that may have growth developmental challenges or more. Having the ability to give up your lifestyle prior to becoming a parent. You might ask, why did I choose this topic of first-time parenting? I thought it would be a good topic of discussion to talk about since, one, I have been a parent. Two, I kind of know some of the struggles of being a parent. Do I know the struggles that a parent faces with a developmental child or a child that has some sort of challenges as far as maybe ADHD or autism or something along in that category? I'm sorry to say, I'm not an expert in that field. However, I do know some folks that are. I chose this topic this evening because it's been on my mind. And I wanted to just share some of my experience. Maybe my story could be of some help to someone else. I am the oldest of three. My parents were married, and I was the first to become pregnant in the home, which was very challenging. I graduated high school, and right out the box, I got knocked up with my firstborn. So I lived at home with my firstborn for a little while, for about 6 months. And some of the challenges that come along as being a parent, let me see. Some of the challenges that come along as being a parent, especially being a parent living at home with your parents, because now you're a parent, but you're also still a child, and you have to abide by the rules and the laws within your parental home, or with whatever home you grew up in, or whichever home you're in at the time you become pregnant and deliver the baby. It's funny because this holiday weekend, I spent some time with my cousin, and we were laughing because we helped each other out in raising our children. We took turns babysitting and helping each other as we progressed and thrived to build our lives in which we have now. It wasn't easy, but we made it work. And she recalled a moment when I lived at home with my oldest, and she said, "Tia, do you remember when I asked you what time do you go to bed?" And I said, "Yeah." And she was like, "Yeah, because you told me that you and your daughter go to bed at 8 o'clock." And we did, because that was my parents' rule. I was a young mom, fresh out the box, 18, 19, probably closer to 18, going on 19 with her. So yes, I had to abide by my parents' rules. So that meant that I still had chores to do. I was still responsible for the house chores. And due to the fact that now I had a child, I had to contribute to the home as well, which was not a problem for me because I needed to do what I needed to do in order to do so. And sometimes parenting through challenges, it can become cumbersome, kind of like heavy. I don't want to use words that I can't pronounce right now. Excuse me. So, um, you, as speaking to anyone that's a young mother or anyone that has been a young mother, you know some of the challenges when you're a parent and you live underneath your guardian's roof. You have to abide by the rules. You have to do as you're told, even though you're a mother. You have to follow the guidance of those that have authority over you. And my mother and father, well, basically my mother, was pretty much she was my role model, so to speak, or my first teacher in parenting, as far as showing me how to care for my daughter, showing me how to sterilize the bottles, how to, at that time, when I was having babies, the formula came in a can and it was liquid. Um, so you had to do the solution of shaking the formula and mixing the water, boil the water, mix it up, put it in a big juice container, and fill all the glass bottles after you wash them and sterilize them in the pot. And then you put them in the refrigerator, stacked up for the feedings of the child, and depending upon how much the child ate, depended upon how many bottles you needed to make, as well as she provided me with a schedule for my child. She provided me with a routine schedule when we woke up in the morning. Our routine was I got up, I got the baby together, I would wash her, dress her, do everything for her, get her all set, and then I would take care of myself because either one of my sisters or my mom would watch my daughter while I got myself together. Um, After that, we came downstairs. I fed my daughter breakfast, um, got her all situated for the day, birthed her, changed her, all that, sat her in her walker so that I could then do the chores that I needed to do in the house. And at that time, it was, the dishes, making sure the front room, dining room, kitchens, all clean, floors vacuumed, mopped, tables wiped down, um, while my parents uh, worked, as well as, looked after my siblings that were there with me. Uh, let's see. And sometimes that's challenging because when you are a young mother, you begin to start thinking about your own independence. You start to think about how your life would be on your own and if you could do it. And that's not always easy to do, but it is possible. It's definitely possible. And I'm sorry to keep looking around because I kind of have some things here I would like to share with you. So let's try this again and see if I can share. So I appreciate you all bearing with me as we go through this. All right, I think this is the one I want. Okay, yes, this is the screen that I want. 3 Feet from Gold. Okay, I have been reading Think and Grow Rich. Very good book. You see, I got all my stickies here on the side. Now, is reading this book beneficial? Yes. Will this book help me achieve my goals? I tend to think yes, it could, or possibly not. But reading the book is just one part of the equation. It's taking the action steps that go along with it. And I marked some pages here because I wanted to go over forgive me. Hello. I hope everyone is well while I go through this. And if you are an expecting mother, um, congratulations. And excuse me. And if you're a first time mom, congratulations to you as well. And I tell you, it's going to be challenging, but you can do it. You have to keep an open mind and be open to advice. I find, given that I was a young mother myself, sometimes young people, we get it in our head that we know what we're doing, we got this, and we really don't. You need help. You need the guidance. Take the advice of someone that has been there, done that, gotten over challenges, because that helps you. You don't have to do it the way that they may have done it, but it's sort of like when someone offers you advice or shares something with you, you take what you need and you leave the rest. That's all I got to say on that. Let's see. So with Think and Grow Rich, the book is a very good book. It's by Napoleon Hill. And he goes into desire, faith, auto-suggestion, specialized knowledge, imagination, and all those things, all those tools that are needed in the creation of the realization of your worthy idea. That's what we talk about, right? Because we want to be the best me, you that we can be. That's what we want to be. And we know that there's going to be challenges along the way. So in Napoleon Hill's book, he lists a few things that I took away as, I would say, gems out of the book to kind of help me facilitate and bring this message to you. I shared the Bible verses and things with you in the beginning. Not that I'm a pastor, not that I am a religious leader or anything like that. I just know that for my life, having a faith-based, some type of spirituality helped to keep me grounded, helped to keep me focused, helped to keep me in alignment with what I needed to achieve in my life. Being a young mother, it wasn't easy, and you really don't know what you want to do. So I took the opportunity to take these 3 feet from gold. It's a topic. It's one of the chapters. I believe it's in the first chapter of the book, the 3 feet from gold chapter, as he's talking about what was his name again? I think it was Benjamin Franklin. I don't want to give you the wrong information. I do not want to give you the wrong information because that would not be cool. Andrew Carnegie and what's his name? There's a gentleman, Mr. Carnegie, who wanted to join. He wanted to partner with Charles M. Schweitzer, who was a successful man at the time, and he didn't want to work for him. He wanted to work alongside of him. So in parenting, we have to learn how to work alongside. Sometimes most times in parenting, there's a mother and a father. So when there is a mother and a father, you, oh boy, what happened? I lost something. Okay, there we go. All right. There's a mother and father. You have to learn how to work together. In my situation, uh, there was a father, but we had challenges. But those challenges didn't stop me from taking care of the responsibility that I needed to have. And as time went on, it got better. So 3 feet from goal, I listed some of the challenges. Because 3 feet from goal is basically a statement of when you are doing your best and you're working hard towards your goals and you're doing what you need to do. And as a parent, you it's a full-time job. You don't get days off. You don't get a sick day. You don't get a vacation. You don't get all of that. If you're lucky, you do. If you have a good support system, you do. If you're financially prepared um, to have children, then yeah, you can kind of enjoy some of those liberties. But if you were, or if you are a parent like I was, fresh out of high school, 6 months of nursing school, and bam, pregnant with a baby on the way, still living at home with mom. Not always mom and dad. Not always a easy pill to swallow for the family, but we made it through because it's expensive to have children. And when you're young, you don't really think of all that, but thank God for the lovely government system and the social services environment that offers certain health programs that will cover the cost for you to have your baby and seek medical care during your prenatal time, because prenatal care is very, very important for the mother as well as the child, because you want to catch anything that may go wrong early. You don't want to wait. You don't want to put it off. It's best to just go and get your prenatal care and follow through with everything that needs to be done to ensure that you have a healthy mother as well as a healthy baby. So some of my challenges were my 3 feet from goal were, as you see here, I have high school graduate, applied and accepted in nursing program. First challenge, pregnant with child, still living home with parents. Second challenge, first step of independence, obtain health care and funds to provide for the coming child, because I was in school, freshly high school graduate in school. So I was not working at the time, and pretty much my parents were taking care of me. So I had to figure it out how I was going to take care of me and this baby. Even though I was still living at home, it was my responsibility to take care of myself. My third challenge was a desire to obtain my first apartment. Not enough funds, because at that time, I believe the social services department provided you with 322 and like 2 something in food stamps that provided you to take care of yourself and your child. So you're not moving on up to any sky rise apartment just yet. Not unless you're a very good saver, you're very good at budgeting your money, and I'm sure there were some that could pull that off, and they did. Let's see. So, and it doesn't matter where you are. You can always change. You can always change the story at any time. The story might start out a little bleak in the beginning, but at any point in that story, your actions are going to change that story. So stay with me. The fourth challenge was follow and obey rules of parents. At home as a first-time parent. I told you I had to go to bed at 8 o'clock. Me and my daughter, every night, we went to bed at 8 o'clock. I got got her ready about 7:30, washed her up, all that stuff, got myself washed and stuff and everything, and gave her her bottle, laid her down, got me ready for bed, and we went to bed together. Uh, no, most common causes of failure is the habit of quitting when challenged with defeat. Now, some might feel as though that having been told at, say, 18, 19, and being a mom and you have an 8 p.m. curfew to go to bed, kind of sounds kind of silly, right? Not at all. Um, I did it because I believe in honoring thy mother and thy father, and I didn't give a lot of problems. Well, not too many. Some things you got to pick your battles. You got to pick which ones is worth the, hiney whooping. Everything wasn't worth the hiney whooping. So it takes us to most common causes of failure is the habit of quitting when challenged with defeat. Then there's that 50-cent lesson in persistence. Okay, so here I am, high school graduate, 6-month nursing school, dropout because I couldn't finish at the time because it was an insurance thing. You can't do your, what is it, internship in the hospital and you're pregnant because the insurance risk is too high and you could possibly get injured lifting a patient or, excuse me, lifting a patient or doing whatever is required in the nursing care process. But no does not necessarily mean no. How important is it for you to obtain it, and what are you willing to risk to get it? So I wanted, I wanted some independence. I wanted control over my parenting. I didn't want to be told what to do any longer. So I had to figure some things out. One, I had to figure out how was I going to get the money to start saving up to get an apartment or a place for me and my child to live. Two, I had to figure out, once I got the job, who was going to babysit the baby while I worked? And whoever was going to be the child care provider, were they going to keep her safe, protected, and were they going to care for her in the way that they needed to care for, that she needed to be cared for in my absence while I was at work? And how much was that going to cost me? So I got all these things going on. Mind you, we didn't even know I had a car yet. I'm just at the baby and the I'm at the baby and I'm at the one to get employment and finding childcare. So no doesn't necessarily mean no, but how important is it for you to obtain it, and what are you willing to risk to get it? As you are the master of your fate, the captain of your soul, because we have the power to control our thoughts, and we do. I have a little phrase here from Henry Ford that says, whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. So your thoughts will control your actions. If you say that you can't do something, most likely you won't. If you feel as though that a challenge is difficult for you and you don't want to take the time and kind of problem solve and work your way through it, through the challenge, to work it out and figure it out, because every obstacle, challenge, distraction, situation, circumstances can and will be worked out whether you participate or not. The fact if you participate will allow you a more positive outcome than if you choose not to participate. So I encourage all young parents, mothers and fathers, to participate in your own rescue, participate in your own growth, participate in your growing and your child's growing, because it's going to be so worth it in the end. Because with children, you get out what you put into them. And if you put all you have in them, they're going to give you all they have of them back to you. So now we go to a desire. Desire is the starting point of all achievement. Now, I share my story. I'm working on a plan. I need employment. 2, I need childcare. 3, I need an apartment. So that was the level where I was around that time. And we're talking 18, 19, early 20s. So Napoleon Hill's strategy for a desired point of all achievement is 1, fix your mind on the exact number of things and or money you desire. Now, mind you, I changed it up a little bit because I did not want to use everything word for word as Mr. Napoleon Hill did. I wanted to put my own little spin on it. So that's why I have fix your mind on the exact number of things and or money you desire. 1, I needed employment. 2, I needed childcare. 3, I needed an apartment. So those are, I needed money, and the things I needed were a childcare provider, and I needed an apartment. So I had to figure that out. Determine exactly what you intend to give in return for the thing and or money you desire. So once I was able to obtain employment, my mother was kind enough to keep my daughter home with her as she had retired early due to the fact that now she was a grandma. And she was very overprotective of us, so she was very overprotective of my children. She kind of thought they were hers. That was our little secret fight between us. But still in all, even though she stayed home, she held me accountable, and I had to pay her childcare. So now I've figured out how to get a job, and I found childcare. But mind you, I still have expenses. So I have transportation to get back and forth to work. So that means I either need a bus pass, a bus card, a bus pass, bus tickets, or hope and pray that my dad's feeling in a great mood and maybe he'll drive me to work that morning. So figuring that out, I gotta pay my rent at home because I had to pay my weight. I had to pay what I weigh at home because now I was not just the child at home going to school. I was now the child at home that has a child. So my parents' way of teaching me to be responsible was just that, teaching me to be responsible. So I had to pay, which I did, and it was no problem. I paid for my rent, I paid towards food and groceries inside the house, and I also paid for childcare. So, what is that? Okay, that's what I had to give in return for the things that I desired in order for me to do what I needed to do to make things better and for my life and my child's life at the time. It says establish a definite date when you intend to possess the thing and or money you desire. So whatever it is that you're going after to achieve, you must make sure that you write down a date. You gotta have a done by date. And as you're working to put things in place for that done by date, your definite date that things will uh, take possession, make sure you write that down. And you have to work diligently to do that because it takes time to find a job. You got to first fill out the applications, you got to go on the interviews, and you have to sell yourself to the employer to hire you. So that takes work. And it's something that you have to do every day. And you can't do it on a iffy schedule. You have to get up as if you're going to work every day looking for a job. That's not something that you do sporadically. My suggestion would be to get up as early as possible because they say the early bird gets the worm and you want to get that worm. So I suggest that you get up early, get yourself together, and get out there and go out, get out and get something, as my mom would say. Okay, let's see. Number 4, create definite plan for carrying out your desire and begin at once. Ready or not, put your plan into action. So, let's see. Number 5, write out a clear, concise statement of the thing and or amount of money you intend to acquire. Give a time limit. State what you intend to give in return for the thing and or money, then describe clearly the plan through which you intend to accumulate it. Okay. Did I really write everything down at that time between the ages of 18, 19? Probably not. And I'm sitting here thinking, I don't think I wrote anything down, but I had everything up here. But then up here was a little bit more clearer and it could hold a lot more then. So I held all mine in my head, but it does help to write things down. Writing them down establishes a way for you to see what your goals are, to see where you're headed, and how long, what roadmap you have to take to get there. And a visual board is usually more better than a mental board because a visual board is something that you can look at and glance at every day or go and review some, and if wherever you need to tweak or you may need to change, you may have to do that from time to time. So make sure that you write out clear, concise statements of the things and or amount of money you intend to acquire. Give a time limit, state what you intend to give in return for the thing and or money, then describe clearly the plan through which you intend to accumulate it. And during this process, the thing that I learned that I gave in return was my time, efforts, and energy because it took all of that to get to where I wanted to be. See, number 6, read your written statement aloud twice daily, morning and night. As you read, see, feel, and believe yourself already in possession of the money and or thing that you desire. If you can see it, feel it, and believe it within yourself and just start taking on the persona that this is mine, you will definitely achieve it. It will manifest itself. It may not look the way that you thought it was going to look sometimes, and sometimes it does. But in my case, it didn't look exactly like I thought it was going to be, nor did it feel the way that I thought it was going to be. Once I did achieve getting the job, 1, paying my mom for childcare, 2, 3, obtaining my apartment. And I believe I've shared, I don't know if anyone that's listening to me now has ever heard me speak before or has gotten a chance to read any of my blogs or see it in my postings on social media. But I talk a lot about my personal growth, my journey along the way, and the different things that I've experienced and gone through, and how I overcame all those things, despite the obstacles and challenges that were in my way. And because I overcame those things, that's why I work so hard to encourage other young parents like myself that may go through challenges. I want them to know that nothing in life is going to come for free. You have to work for everything that you want. It's not just going to be given to you. Even if you were blessed enough to be born into a wealthy family, um, just because your parents are wealthy doesn't mean you're wealthy. You have to earn it just as they had. So I'm sure that someone that comes from that background to share some of their experiences as well. And if you're listening to me and you come from that kind of background, just comment in the box as far as, what was your experience? What did you experience coming up? Did you have to really work for something, or was it given to you? Because sometimes things are given to us, but you appreciate things so much more when you work for it and you earned it on your own, because it's a sense of value. It's a sense that I've done it, and it's a good feeling on the inside. So, to wrap all that up right now on that section is to say, this will more than likely take you some time. So don't be so hard on yourself, as Rome was not built in a day, and neither will your desire, hopes, and dreams. My mother always said that nothing of God is complicated. And I found that her words were correct. As you keep the faith and keep taking action steps toward whatever it is that you desire to obtain, believe me when I say, if you never stop going, soon you will arrive. Be good to yourself and others along the way. Even show acts of kindness that may not be kind to you, as they will need it most. Just don't stop. I'm going to stop sharing the screen here. You just can't stop working towards your goals and your dreams. It's challenging being a young mom. It's hard because what were some of the challenges that I wrote down here? I'm going to go back to them just briefly, just briefly, and give a little insight on that. And when I'm doing that out, I have one more slide for you, and then I'm going to be kind enough to let you know if it works properly, because we all know how some things can get for me. Let's see. That's the words. And I don't believe. So thank you for bearing with me as I am learning all these new things in the platform, and I hope I didn't. Okay, let me see. Okay, wait a minute. Let's see if I can get that down here. I think I got it. Oh, guys, let me see. I think I got it. I think I did. Oh boy, did I take it out? I might have took it out again. This is really not all that easy, but it's not all that hard neither. But it's really not all that easy. It would be better if I was more alert and it was a little earlier. Maybe I wouldn't be all over the place. I was trying to get this situated here. But let me see, because I know last time some kind of way I did this, and I'm not sure how I did it. Here. You guys can't see this. Oh, here it is. All right, now let's take this out. Aha! Hi, I'm back. I think I figured it out. love it, I love it, I love it, I love it. It's just challenges everywhere. No matter what you do, it's challenges. But I'm up to it. Some days I'm not, but you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. So I went back to some of the challenges that you can face as a parent. And let's see. Yeah, sometimes we never being a parent before can be very nervous, and it can make you very nervous and make you kind of fearful because you don't know what to expect. So having a baby, you have to learn the baby because they don't come with instructions. Sometimes, well, the nurses in the hospital, they will give you some help as far as the feeding and how to birth the baby. There is some guidance and some help along the way. So it's not like you're totally just having this baby and you're just stuck out there like Chuck with nothing. So you do have guidance. You have the medical staff that is there in the hospital. That's the first point of contact that's going to help you in parenting. But how open are you to taking an instruction and help? Because everybody may need help, but we all don't know how to accept help. And I was one that had to learn how to accept help because I was very independent. And because I was the older child and had siblings, I thought I knew what I was doing, but your sibling is not your child. Totally different when you spit the baby out of your body and you got to care for that little bundle of joy. Um, so there were some sacrifices that I had to make. I had to have the ability to give up my life as a young teenager, give up my lifestyle, which wasn't much at that time because, oh, excuse me, I wasn't allowed to hang out and socialize with my friends. I wasn't allowed to go to the mall. I wasn't allowed to hang out with anyone outside of the family circle. My parents were very strict and stern in that way, so we were always structured as far as activities and what we did and who we were with. So we were not just hanging with anyone. So um, that part was a little sticky, not much, because yeah, you do want to hang out and go out with your friends, but when you have a newborn and you're trying to raise this baby from newborn to 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, now to a year, it's a journey. It's a journey, a beautiful journey. One I'm grateful that I took the time out, and I'm blessed to have had the opportunity to stay home and be a stay-home mom. That's something over time that I realized that every mother or every parent doesn't always have that opportunity, the opportunity to be home and parent your children. Um, so the sacrifice of hanging out with my friends or possibly going club hopping or something like that, I gave that up to be home with my children. I was home with them, and since they were little, I worked at night so that I could be home with them in the daytime. Once I achieved my job, my apartment, I, of course, me and the father joined back together, and we were able to kind of co-parent for a little while. We'll get into the whole parent relationship things because I think it's something worthwhile talking about. Children need both their parents. This is a true, proven fact. However, can a child be raised without with one parent? Yes, it's possible. It's definitely possible. More challenging, but it is possible. So it's very good to have your support group with you, a core support. that will support you along the way. Let's see. Challenges adapting to all the responsibility that comes with parenting. Parenting, parenting infant when they're little is all the opportunities to start teaching them from newborn. Basically, you're not going to teach them but so much, but they're learning, they're sucking it all in. You're more learning as a parent the cues, the cries, and the whines of the child because they can't verbally tell you, so you have to listen to what's that cry? Are they hungry? Are they wet? Do they just want to be held, cuddled? You know. So I'm a cuddler. So my children were rotten. They got held a long time, and they were lap babies. I learned how to do my house chores and everything, but them on my head. So imagine vacuuming, you got the baby, you know, all that good stuff. But then you turn the music on, you sing, and you and the baby's having a good time, and the house is clean, and then you can cook some dinner and sit back and chill. So I really enjoyed being a mother. The bonus was being a grandmother, and that was great. Uh, so I'm going to now share a little video. Wait a minute, let me do this the correct way. Let me see. It's not showing up there. Why is it not showing up? I don't know what I did wrong. And the fact that it's not showing up there, oh, I think I know what I did wrong. The fact that it's not showing up there might mean, oh no, it's in there. So I'll put that down here. I might have did something wrong all the time. What the heck? Lord Jesus. Work with me, Lord, work with me, Lord. Because no, nothing is bad. No places. Share the video, optimize, sunshine, video clip. No, that's the whiteboard. I don't want the whiteboard. Sometimes this works and sometimes this doesn't. However, we're just going to go with the flow because that's what we do. Don't get things in, don't get your panties in a bunch. Just try to make it, but I need this to show up in the something. Not. Put it up here like this. Then I will, go here. Yeah. Okay. Let's see, can I screen share it now? Nope, it's still not coming up. Still not coming out. So I know that if I can't see it here, you can't see it either from my last video. So I'm not quite sure how I could do that again. Let's see. Okay, not working either. This is supposed to be. Go here. Here. So let's try the screen share. It's still not coming up on the share. Not doing it. So I don't know what I did wrong, but I can't share my video with you. Maybe I'll let me see. Okay. Now where am I at? Because now here you are there. I'm here. Let's see. Move forward for English here. if you can see this or not. I don't think so because I can't see it. Wrong this time. I probably got too many damn windows open. Is what's going on here. So let's see. Let's X this out. Let's take that out of here. And we're going to take this out. I don't want to log out of Zoom. That would not be good. Take this out. Well, anyway, while I'm trying to figure this out, I just wanted to, kind of hard to talk about what I wanted to do when I can't even, this is clapping. Let's get out of there. Okay, no, that's cancel that. Exactly, that's what the cancel last. And I don't want to cancel last. Come see, let's cancel. Not sure how to take this out. Go back here. Let's see. Try to go back to screen share and see if it comes up. No, it's not coming up. Let's see. Profiles. I gotta really update myself on the technology. I don't know what I'm doing. Or maybe I just did it wrong this time. I'm not sure. I did it wrong, but it's not working for me. Well, guys, I want to thank you for your time. And some kind of way I got to play around with this to figure out how I can show the video. But maybe what I'll do is I'll post it on one of my social media pages, and it's just something for you to review, or that you could just look at. It was just a photo of my mother had wrote me a letter back in 1996, I think it was, for my birthday. And she basically, I think it was a poem that she wrote out that pretty much told me to live my dreams and go for what I know. And it was a way of her saying that she was proud of me. And I didn't find it till a couple years after she passed. And then when I read it again, that's when it really hit me on the inside. But I learned the value of what it meant to be in her shoes once I became a mother. And I learned it even more so once I became a grandmother. And sometimes it's just that way, you know. You have to take advantage and love on the people that you have in your corner that are there for you, as much as possible, because tomorrow's not promised. So love your children, love you. Don't be afraid to take advice. Keep an open mind. Write your goals down. What are your dreams and desires? You may not be there right now, and you might not even be ready to begin it. But if you write them down and you start marking them off one by one of what it is that you want to achieve, whether it's completing school, getting a job, getting your first apartment, getting your first car, all those first things. All the first things are always so great. They're wonderful. They're going to be the best stories later down the line when you get there, because I think in the beginning we grind hard, but not as hard as we do as we go along in the journey. And I hope to one day be able to have someone come along and help me share some first-time parent experiences or just parenting experiences, period. Because I think as parents, for me, It helped a lot to identify with someone else that was going through or experiencing the same thing that I was, or somewhat around the same type of experiences. So you want to take care of you, and you want to keep your mind on positive things. You want to not face the challenges. You want to look at all the positive things that can come out of it. When I became a mother, um, at the time, it was a high teenage pregnancy rate, and there was a lot of negative connotation as to why we were all getting pregnant as teenagers and what were the effects of our pregnancies on our lives, and how would it affect us later on down the line, and how would it affect our children. Um, were we going to fall to the wayside? Were we going to fall under addiction? Were we going to be able to survive and thrive in our community that is, let me see, I don't want to say poverty stricken, because although there are things within the community that are community ills, I can honestly say from my experience here in the city, every parent I knew was working middle class parents. They all had jobs, they all have had an education, they found a way to establish and purchase their homes to raise their children. And my friends and I, we turned out fine. We turned out great. We had challenges along the way based off of choices that we chose going through our journey. But for the most part, even the choices that we chose, whether good or bad, we found a way to turn it around and make it better so that we can become better parents and our children can be better individuals in the world, productive citizens. I just want to share this with you, and then I'm going to let you go because I feel like I'm rambling, and rambling is not really what I want to do. But I'm trying something different here and trying to see where it's all going. And if I don't apply my ideas, then I kind of lose them. So I need to apply them because I have a lot of notes written down. But if I don't use the notes and put them to work, they're just a stack of paper. So I'd rather not collect a stack of paper. I love collecting my books. So I'm going to read this from Think and Grow Rich from Napoleon Hill. And it says, remember, no more effort is required to aim high in life, to demand abundance and prosperity, than is required to accept misery and poverty. A great poet has correctly stated this universal truth through these lines, and it reads, I bargained with life for a penny, and life would pay no more. However, I begged at evening when I counted my scanty store, for life is just employer. He gives you what you ask, but once you have set the wages, why, you must bear the task. I worked for minimals hire only to learn dismayed that any wage I had asked for, at any wage I had asked of life, life would have willingly paid. So, desire outwits Mother Nature. As a fitting climax to this chapter, I was to introduce one of the most unusual persons I have ever known. I first saw him 24 years ago, a few minutes after he was born. He came into the world without any physical signs of ears, and the doctors admitted when pressed for an opinion that the child might be deaf and mute for life. I challenged the doctor's opinion. I had the right to do so. I was the child's father. I too reached a decision and rendered an opinion, but I expressed the opinion silently in my secret, in my secrecy of my own heart. I decided that my son would hear and speak. Nature could send me a child without ears, but nature could not induce me to accept the reality of the affliction. In my own mind, I knew that my son would hear and speak. How? I was sure there must be a way, and I knew I would find it. I thought of the words of the immortal Emerson: the whole course of things goes to teach us faith. We need only obey. There is guidance for each of us, and by lowly listening, we shall hear the right word. The right word, desire. More than anything else, I desire that my son should not be a deaf mute. From that desire, I never reached, and from that desire, I never receded, not for a second. Many years previously, I had written, our only limitations are those we set in our minds. For the first time, I wondered if the statements were true. Lying on the bed in front of me was a newly born child, without the natural equipment of hearing. Even though he might hear and speak, he was obviously disfigured for life. Surely this was a limitation which that child had not set up in his own mind. What could I do about it? Somehow I would find a transplant into the child's mind my own burning desires for ways and means of conveying sound to his brain without the aid of ears. As soon as the child was old enough to cooperate, I would fill his mind so completely with a burning desire to hear that nature would, by methods of her own, translate into physical reality. And I'm going to leave it there. As a parent, sometimes we're not in control of what we get or what we go through to an extent. But with faith, we can make it through. Faith, action steps, taking a plan, and keeping a positive mindset. No matter what negativity may come your way, if you can manage to hold on to your faith and your patience and stick to your desired outcome, you and your children will learn how to deal with life adversities, take on challenges, and overcome them. So I thank you this evening for spending a little time with me. Well, sorry to say this evening because anyone watching it could be morning, afternoon, or evening. For me, it's evening. So, actually, it's morning. Good morning, everybody. 12:35 a.m. But it was on my heart, and I needed to let you know that becoming a parent isn't the worst thing in the world, no matter what age you are. And if you are a young mom, yeah, it might be a little harder. You might have to do a little more. You may have to listen to those that you might not want to listen to, but listening to them is beneficial. You are going to have to sacrifice some things, and don't let it be your child. that you sacrifice over your selfishness to live a life that you think that you want to live. Because what kind of life is it that you're really living if you don't have your seeds with you? So with that, I bid you a good night, evening, morning, however you want to call it. And I will come back to you with another topic, as I have many. We have gone over tonight over first time parenting. So we'll take you on a whole little journey, because first time parenting is real family dynamics, as well as life itself is real family dynamics, because we're all a part of the family, whether it's our blood family or not. If they are caring for you, if they are looking out for your well-being, and they are trying to guide you in the right way to give you a better, brighter future, that's your family. So, with that being said, appreciate what you have. Everybody doesn't have what you have. So if you got a family, you have your children. And if you don't have your children, and you got some work to do the work. It's going to be so much more beneficial in the end. Because no matter what goes on in life, I don't care if you could take the kid from here to Mount Methuselah. That kid is always going to still know. They're still going to always yearn. They're always going to want to know that other part of them, the parts of them that makes them who they are, because the two parents create the one, just like my two parents created me. And you want to be a part of that. You want to share in their joys, their triumphs. You want to be there to comfort them when they cry. So whatever you have to do, set those goals. What's your desire? And what's your starting point of all your achievements? What is it that you wish to achieve? You're going to come to that 3 feet from goal. Don't be the one to stop. Don't be the one to turn around and say, oh, I can't take this no more. Because you don't know what you can take. You don't know what you can endure. You can endure so much more, and you can do so much more. But it all starts here. Because like I said, if you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. No matter what you think, you're right. Good night.